Alright, ladies and gentlemen, in today's video we're going to be giving out a few juicy tips for all those who are new to the game or thinking about getting the game. The first tip I can give you though is go ahead and refund that game. You are going to save yourself a lot of angry outbursts when traffic randomly decides to hit you, or in my case fall out the sky. And you may even save yourself from popping a blood vessel when another racer decides to be a weirdo and hit you out of a checkpoint. But if you are steadfast in playing this game, then these tips are for you. I've seen Unbound go on sale a lot for the past few weeks, maybe even like a few months. And with that comes a lot of new posts from people asking what game to get out of the available Need for Speed games that are on sale. 9 times out of 10, the majority say Unbound, so that is why this video is even being made. Nobody directly asked for tips, but it is helpful to just have them out there for people. Sort of like a stay ready so you don't have to get ready type of thing, right? Anyway, the tips I'm going to give, I tried to steer away from the traditional ones so that people can kind of know what to expect and the things that I wish someone had told me from the jump. Super advanced tips like micro drifting and how to build cars won't be in this video because, I mean, they are a beginner. They don't really need to be knowing about that yet. Y'all who are new should honestly be worried about getting money first and upgrading your garage first. This intro is super long though, so if y'all all enjoy, make sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. Super close to 650 subs, and that means 700 is right around the corner. But let's get into the video, shall we? The first tip I can give y'all is join everything and get money. And I mean everything. It doesn't matter if you win or lose, you're rank 1. People expect you to be trash and have starter cars. If you don't have the car for the tier that a race is in, then join anyway and use a rental. Your objective should be to get money and nothing but money. By the time you hop off the game, you should have a cool meal in your back pocket, ready to upgrade your garage to unlock all the different types of parts so that you can get a car that won't be left in the first few seconds when starting a race. Don't worry about all these people that got different body kits on their cars, different effects. Don't worry about spending money on clothes for your character that you only see in the garage or on the windscreen. You're probably not going to be winning really, so you don't need to worry about your character's appearance. All that stuff will come later when you have disposable income. Right now you are on a budget and you cannot afford $10,000 worth of Versace shirts and skirts when you are still in the starter car with basic parts. Joining everything will also allow you to explore different types of tracks and know the differences between them because yes, there is a difference. Unfortunately, in 2024, Need for Speed Unbound still does not have the quality of life feature to show you tracks before you pick a car, so yes, you need to know the types of tracks. There are corner kings, speed races, and street races. The second tip I can give is do not upgrade all your cars to S+. Everything does not need to be S+, bro. You are eating through money crazy just to upgrade a car that will get smoked by other cars already in that class. And it would be smarter and cheaper to just upgrade your car to the top of its class than try and have it reach a section in a higher class. Now, I won't be getting into the crazy details of the different parts and different engines, but just know that once your garage is fully upgraded, you will have choices between parts to put in your car. Typically, if you want your car to go down a tier or two, then you might want to look for engines that start at the lowest tier. Do not do this if you are just starting, but if you want your car to go into a higher tier, then the engines that start in higher tiers may have more power. Do your research on these sort of things before you buy them because they are expensive and you cannot sell them back, so you're stuck with bad choices if you make them. Now, another reason I say not to upgrade your starter car all the way up to S+ is because of how S+ is. What does that mean? As said before, S+ is filled with Regeras and the new Lotus, the 2 best cars in the entire game. Even though you are new at the game, you should still be trying to get the highest placement you can because why? It gets you more money so you can get more stuff. Why go against those cars when you won't even get top 7 when you could go against more balanced cars within your own class? Now, the second thing is how often these playlists are played. Between B and S+, those are the playlists that people throw up the least in free roam. You want people in your playlist. That is how you get more money. The more people, the more money. If your car is an A+ and you send up an A+ playlist, people are more likely to join that than S+. The third tip is switch to manual from automatic as soon as possible. As soon as possible meaning ideally when you first boot up the game. That way you are not trying to learn it later. But there are 2 ways you could go about this. Learning manual and when to shift is a whole thing by itself. And if you feel you are not able to get the grasp of other things like handling and burst NOS while also trying to learn manual, then by all means stick with automatic. Or you can try and learn everything at the same time, which may help you in the long run. But Do not let people lie to you and say that automatic is either faster or equal to manual, because it is most definitely not. If you are someone who wants to be competitive and race to the best of your ability, manual is your friend. If you just want to worry about other things and maybe don't care about being super fast, then sure, take automatic over manual. Also, this may come into play later, but when using manual, the clutch doesn't matter as much as when you are in automatic. The ability to have control over your gears, especially around turns or when slowing down, is something that cannot be replicated with automatic. This is not to say that you can't get far with auto, but just know you're leaving potential on the table. The fourth tip is to buy the gold bottle grip NOS and drift NOS, and that is it. Everything else is pretty pointless, and it doesn't really matter for those who want to do straight racing majority of the time. Some of you may be tempted to get near miss. Do not. You get near miss boost in general anyway, and the bonus is not even worth missing out on NOS you could be getting from actions that you do more often when racing. On top of this, you are still learning the game, and driving inches from a car to get a fraction of boost is not something you want to be doing super often. Crashing is one of the quickest ways to get out of a race, and remember, you do need money, which comes with getting higher placements. Do not sacrifice your first or second place to get a tiny boost by traffic that is coming your way. The actions that you will perform in a single race will be having to do with drifting and grip movements, which will increase the amount of blue and yellow NOS you get due to the NOS bottles being in your inventory. Do not pick up jump NOS, do not pick up draft NOS, or anything else. I promise you, you will be good with just the two that I mentioned earlier. Especially once you get the hang of micro drifting and also figure out what type of driving style you want to do. More on that in the next tip. Tip number 5 is figuring out if you want to be a drift racer or a grip racer. Drift racing is more dangerous, but it is overall faster. Grip racing is a lot more secure when doing turns and other movements, but it is slower. Now, grip racing is not so slow that the difference will be seen immediately, but I also don't want you guys to invest in grip racing just because it's safer and not know the whole thing about it. Another thing to consider is when building cars that have drift models instead of grip sometimes can fit better parts into their builds, and this may have a few extra points of power going towards them. This can be a big difference sometimes, it can be a small difference at other times. You have to make that decision though. But it is important to figure out what you want to do first, because that way you can fully invest your time into perfecting that skill instead of switching over back and forth and not becoming a master of either. Now, when you get really comfortable, you can switch over and master the other skill to be great at that. But even though that might be in the future, it's not in your near future. You are a noob, buddy. Figure out what you want your car's builds to be, grip or drift, and then get to it. Number 6 is make sure to start your car unlock challenges early. Ask any person that has played Unbound and they will tell you that unlocking cars via challenges is one of the most annoying things to do in this game, hands down. Y'all have it good now though, because you can start races by yourselves, so it wasn't as annoying as back then. However, it still will be quite tedious, and if you want to unlock as many cars as possible, then the best time to do it is also while learning the game. That way you aren't doing it when you really don't want to. Some challenges do overlap, so pay attention and make sure that you do the ones that will unlock not just that challenge, but also the ones under it. For example, there are a few challenges where you have to do 30 playlists in a certain tier, but there are also some where you only have to do 10 or 20. Make sure to stick it out and just do the 30, that way you can unlock all 3 cars instead of just one. Now, I am not saying to go spend all your money on these cars. A lot of them are garbage and not worth the effort, but you never know when you will need a certain car, and it's good to just have them all unlocked so you can pick them up easily. Tip number 7 kind of goes with tip number 1, but it is to do map events, do the boosted PvP playlist, and do boosted free roam playlist every chance you get. There will be events called link ups where you can earn extra cash, as well as boosted events which get you more money than usual. Make sure to take advantage of these things, and I promise you can have a lot more money in a shorter amount of time than you might think. It does not matter if the playlist is Rumble, Gauntlet, anything really. And since I am talking about that, Rumble playlists, by the way, are off-road, and Gauntlet playlists are races with cops. PvP will always have people, and typically the far left playlist will have the boosted XP and boosted money. This is a quick way to race with others and also make a good bit of money in a short time. Tip number 8 is superchargers are the best option for car builds 99% of the time. Now, of course, that 99% is not actually calculated, but what I am saying is that for a lot of these tracks, you either want the roots or screw superchargers. They deliver instant power at lower speeds, so they work well with a lot of street races and corner kings where you may be turning and slowing down a bit more than say, longer races where a turbocharger will do better. Thankfully, You are not alone out here, and there are plenty of builds of every car in the game on YouTube. Please do your research and make sure that the people you are getting these builds from are reliable sources. There are some videos out here that say bad cars are good cars. Do not watch those. Find builds that will actually help you. Typically, I'm against build videos because I believe racers should try to experiment first, then try and seek help. That way they learn how to actually build cars. But because you are new, you don't have the time or money for stuff like that yet. Now, going back to the inductions for the engines, there are turbochargers, superchargers, and you can also leave your engine naturally aspirated. Superchargers are good for power in lower gears, as said before. Turbochargers are good for power at higher gears and help reach redline faster for when you need that extra boost. Naturally aspirated provides no boost, but can still be good when you are trying to build a car into a tier but have limited points. Sometimes naturally aspirated cars do have more power in them than the ones with superchargers or turbos, but remember that your car does not have that initial boost or that ladder boost. The 9th tip is you can lower a car only one tier from what it was bought as. Do not think that you could go buy a Bugatti and drop it into B tier, and in fact, some cars that are already in the higher tiers can't even be brought down to lower tiers, so you need to be wary of that. However, cars can be raised from B all the way up to S plus tier. So if you are thinking about buying a car to use in multiple tiers, the best solution would be to start from B or maybe A and try to build up from there. Parts also come into play in this, and if you equip parts that lower the performance points of a car along with the engine you put in it, then they can fit in the lower tiers, but doing this will impact the handling, so it's a give and take. The final tip is know that you can race by yourself. I would never recommend this for people, especially new people that want to make a bunch of money, but sometimes it is good just to know that you can do that, especially if you want to practice, test a new build out, see if a track is long or short track. Really, there are a lot of reasons. Make sure you are aware of that so that you are just not starting races and backing out when people don't seem to join. Hopefully these tips helped you all out, and if anyone who has been playing the game knows of any tips, feel free to drop them down below. If you all enjoyed, make sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video.